We'll get to Steve Sands of Golf Channel coming up. Quick story. Went to dinner Friday night in the city with Adam Sandler. I wanted to get together with him, find out how the movie is, and is it done? It's ready to come out next month, and find out, how many scenes that I'm in that got cut out and how many actually made the movie. So I'm just doing kind of a, just a welfare check here on how my career is going with Sandler. Sandler goes, I'm going to go play basketball and I'll meet you at the restaurant. Well, the restaurant's really nice, but it's not very far from the basketball courts. So Sandler's got his Hawaiian shirt on, baggy shorts. He's playing a couple of games, comes in, he's sweaty, and, of course, he walks in and everybody goes, that's Adam Sandler. They didn't care that, they had a dress code. It didn't matter. So he's a mess when he comes in. So, we have a dinner, great conversation. We're leaving. He said, where are you walking to? I said, well, I'm going to walk to Soho. He goes, I'll walk with you, Danny. And then he goes, you don't want to walk with the Sandman. And I go, okay. Well, he was actually saying you do not want to walk with him because we probably passed 90 people, let's say. 80 of those people asked for a photograph, at least. It was, in the middle of traffic, people crossing street. Crazy. And he goes, I told you, Danny, you don't want to walk with the Sandman. But he was polite. One person out of 80 asked for a photograph of me. One guy asked me if I would take the photograph of him and Adam Sandler. I said, sure, I'd be more than happy to. But Sandman is good. And, maybe there's one other movie that he's going to be working on after Happy Gilmore 2. A lot of cameos in Happy Gilmore 2. A lot of big-time golfers in there. And I found out how Shooter McGavin got his name in the movie. But I'm going to make you wait for that because I have to get to Steve Sands of Golf Channel. Very popular play-by-play announcer, host, and interviewer. Steve, how are you?
Shooter McGavin was at the Players this year, Dan, and I was on a stage with him and got to meet him and then hang out with him for a little while. And I was like, man, this is amazing. Shooter McGavin's like an incredible character in sports movie lore, and it was pretty wild. But let me get back to the Adam Sandler thing. One, love when you name drop. I think that's very cool. And two, how in the world can you walk block after block in New York City and only have one person ask for your autograph? You came to dinner with me about a month ago in Winter Park, and we couldn't take a bite without everyone in the restaurant running by and calling, oh my gosh, that's Keith Olbermann.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I'm sorry, Dan Patrick. Dan, what's going on?
Good to have you back on, Steve.
It's great to be with you, Dan. How you doing, buddy?
The best golf movie of all time is?
Oh, Caddyshack. It's not even close. Come on.
Really?
Come on. I mean, Caddyshack. Are you kidding? I mean, I love Adam Sandler, and I love all things golf genre with Adam Sandler. I mean, come on now. I mean, Caddyshack? Is there something better than Caddyshack? Are you going to give me Kevin Costner and that whole thing?
Okay, if I take Caddyshack off the board.
Oh, man. I haven't seen the second version, but the first version with Adam Sandler, I mean, that made me laugh out loud. I mean, golf usually doesn't make you laugh out loud. Yeah, I got to see the second version though. Are you saying it's good? Were you in the movie, by the way?
Yeah.
Wow.
Of course. I mean,
I tell you what, man, you're big time, man.
I know, but I always find time for you.
Is that right?
Yes.
You come to the Orlando area like once a month, and I hear from you once a year. Is that always making time for me?
Yes, because I got to meet up with Rich Lerner, Faldo. Like, there's a lot of
the best part about you living in that circle of people is that Lerner now lives in Connecticut and Faldo lives in Montana, and you're saying that you have to see them both when you're in Orlando.
Yes,
that's my favorite part.
Yeah. No, I drive by their old houses. That's all.
Yeah, that's nice. That's nice of you.
Okay, I love what Rich Lerner said last night. He said that J.J. Spawn, he beat the best and he beat the beast.
Yeah. He did.
In that order, did he beat the best or did he beat the beast?
I think you beat the beast first. I think certain major championship venues, aside from Augusta National, which hosts the Masters every year, there's certain U.S. Open and PGA Championship and Open Championship venues that just mean more. They just do. You do an Open at St. Andrews, and it means more than most of the other venues. And I think Oakmont is one of those places, Dan. When you win at Oakmont, you have conquered Oakmont more than you've conquered the other 155 guys who were in the field. I agree with Rich, but I would go beast before the field.
How many golf courses in the world do we tune in to see the golf course, and then you tune in to see how the players play the golf course?
Augusta National for the Masters every year. I've never been anywhere. I've said this to people all the time. You can go to Churchill Downs on the first Saturday in May. You're going to turn around and watch the Derby at some point. You're going to go to Wrigley or Fenway or whatever your cathedrals are, Fog Allen. At some point, whatever your cathedrals are in sports, you're going to be watching the sporting event. You can walk, and we talked about this before, Dan. You can go to Augusta, get a badge for a day, walk around, eat those horrible pimento cheese sandwiches, buy yourself $2,000 worth of merchandise because you think you're never going to go back there again. You have to buy something for every human being you've ever met in your life, whether you love them or not. Have a beer, walk the 18 holes, see the place you're so familiar with, not see a single golf shot, and walk away, go home, and go, that was the best day of my life. And you never saw a shot. The course at Augusta National matters. Pebble Beach, I think, is in that category. We see that regularly, but you can just walk around Pebble and enjoy the beauty. And again, St. Andrews, the familiarity of it, the history of it. But I think it's those three. And if you're going to do a U.S. Open, I think next year's venue might be the best golf course in America, Shinnecock, out on the tip of Long Island. But Oakmont is one of those places that's hosted the most, Dan, but it's just so famous for being hard. It's just so hard. It's fun for us hacks to watch the best players in the world try to get it around there.
He's Steve Sands, NBC Sports play-by-play announcer, host, interviewer, working for the Golf Channel as well. When you start to look at how this played out, you didn't have big names at the top of the leaderboard.
Right.
Why?
Somebody told me a couple of days ago, and I found it interesting. PGA Tour events week in, week out are not set up as difficult as this. So if you're a little bit off your game and you're still the best player in the world, you can get it out of the rough. You can get it up and in around the greens. You can't do that at a U.S. Open. So if the best players in the world are just a little bit off at a regular tour event, they still end up on a leaderboard. Whereas at a U.S. Open, especially a U.S. Open at Oakmont, if you're a little off the target, like Scheffler was, like Rory was, like Schauffele was, like Ludwig Oberg was, if you're top 4 or 5 players in the world, just a hair off at a U.S. Open, you're going to get punished. And those guys got punished last week.
Why isn't Rory meeting with the media when he has a bad round?
You know what's sad, Dan? I forget the night we had dinner. I'm being all kidding aside. We had dinner one night and we were talking about this at dinner and it's still going on. I think he's really bothered by what happened at the PGA Championship when the USGA and the PGA of America basically threw him under the bus and leaked out that his driver had to get taken away. So did Scotty Scheffler's, by the way, Dan, and he went on to win, but his name wasn't leaked out. Rory's was. He had just won the career Grand Slam. I think there's a motivation factor going on right now that he's trying to find that gear again. His whole life was geared towards doing something. Now that he's done it, he's naturally kind of taken his foot off the gas a little bit. I think he's upset that his name was leaked out. He didn't like the way the media handled that. The media actually went forward with that as opposed to perhaps going to him off the record and saying, hey, I just found this out. What would you like me to do with it? Because I have to go report it, that kind of thing. And I also think he's not playing very well, Dan, and I don't think he likes talking about that too often. But I got to tell you, as much as I love Rory, I think you have to be professional and you have to speak when you win and when you lose. Jack Nicklaus was the greatest champion in the sport, Dan. He was also the greatest loser in the sport. And I think he needs to man up and speak to the media because you don't want them directing the narrative. You should direct the narrative. And I think he's making a mistake. And I hope he gets back and starts to do what he normally does. Because, by the way, Dan, he's so great with the media.
I know.
He needs to do it. It's not professional.
Because Jack won 18 majors. I think he finished runner-up 19 times.
Yeah, 19 times. And by the way, Rory is such a good guy, and he's so smart and insightful, and he's fabulous with the writers. He's fabulous on podcasts. He's fabulous on shows like yours and on TV with us. You know, I hope he gets back to doing it regularly because he's so good at it. But right now, he's in a little bit of a funk with the media, and he's not giving the media what it wants. And by the way, Dan, one last thing on that. He doesn't owe the media. You and I talked about this. No athlete owes the media anything. They're right when they say that. They shouldn't say that out loud, but they don't owe the media anything. They do owe their fans and their sponsors everything. The media just happens to be the conduit between the athlete and the audience, whether it's sponsors or whether it's fans. And I think that players need to get out of the realm of thinking we owe the media something. We owe the fans and sponsors something. The media is just the outlet between the two parties.
Didn't Rory make you cry?
He did make me cry at Royal Portrush in 2019. My mother, I'll tell you a quick story. My mother had just passed away. And, you know, you hear from a lot of people, you hear from a lot of family and friends, clearly, you know, when your parents pass away or someone close to you passes away. In this case, it was my mom. We go to Northern Ireland, and I had never heard from Rory. I hadn't seen Rory since my mother had passed away. It had been about 3 weeks. And he missed the cut at Royal Portrush in his home country, which had all the pressure on his shoulders and his back going into that week. And right before we were about to do the interview on Friday, after missing the cut, after all that emotion from him, he literally looks at me. Tommy Roy's in my ear going, okay, 30 seconds out. I said, great. And Rory looks at me and goes, hey, I didn't want to text you and I hadn't seen you. Puts his hand on my arm and says, I'm so sorry to hear about your mom. I wanted to make sure I told you that in person.
Oh,
and yikes, Dan. I mean, we were not on the air, but I was like, whoa. I backed away from the camera, hit the talk back button, and said to Tommy, I said to Tommy Roy, I'm gonna need a minute. And he goes, no, we gotta get to you. And I go, gonna need a minute. And I looked at Roy and went, you gotta be kidding me. And it was a very, very nice moment. It gives you a little bit of insight as to what type of human being he is, which is why we all want to hear from him, whether he wins or loses. But yeah, it was a very, very nice thing. He definitely got me. Not many people get me, but he got me hard there.
Great to talk to you again.
Dan, you're the best, man. I love you.
Thank you. Steve Sands works for Golf Channel, also part of the coverage of the U.S. Open.